Hi everyone. Today is Monday, May 4th, 2020. So today after I read from our chapter book, then we'll have a math lesson. Okay, so make sure that you have your math ready. Okay, chapter 10, The Heart of the Ocean. Jack put the wand back in his pack. Then he and Annie charged out of the lab with Henry behind them. The three of them climbed back up the stairs. When they stepped onto the top deck, they heard the sailors still shouting and yelling. Jack and Annie raced across the deck. They pushed through the crowd until they got to the railing. The octopus was still in the net, bright red, and hiding his head in fear. "Stop!" cried Annie. "Stand back!" the captain yelled at her. "You must bring it up alive!" begged the professor. "Listen to us!" Jack yelled in his loudest voice. "You have to hear the truth." He stood up on the bottom rung of the ship's railing so everyone could hear him. "Don't touch him," he shouted. "He's not going to hurt you. He deserves to live peacefully in the sea. He's a miracle of nature." But no one was listening to Jack. No one even turned to look at him. "Stop, hear us," said Annie. "We speak the truth. Leave him alone." "Remove the children," the captain roared again. "Now!" Tommy and Joe grabbed Jack and Annie. "Let us go. We have to talk to them," yelled Annie, kicking and flailing. She and Jack broke loose from the sailors. "She's right. They have to hear the truth," yelled Jack, running toward the railing. "He's okay where he is. He's different from people, but he's a miracle." Again, no one seemed to hear him. "The magic's not working," Annie cried to Jack. "I know," said Jack. He was desperate. No one was hearing the truth. What was wrong? He and Annie had followed the rules. They were trying to help others, not themselves. They had tried their hardest first, and Jack had used only 5 words. "Look!" a sailor shrieked. "Look at the monster!" Jack and Annie looked back at the water. The giant octopus had uncovered its head and raised it out of the water. "Go!" The sound was hollow and haunted, as if it came from an ancient gong or bell or drum. "Home!" The sound was unbearably sad, as if it came from the heart of the ocean. "I'm no monster." The octopus fell back into the water. All the seamen and scientists stared in wonder and terror. Then Annie's voice rang through the silence. "Did you hear him? He said, 'Let me go home. I'm no monster.'" The crew looked at each other in shock. "That's what he said. I heard it," one man said. "Heard it with my own ears." "I heard it too," said another. "Me too," said another. "It's a sign," said a sailor. "We can't hurt 'em, or any other like 'em," said another. All eyes turned to the captain. He stood still for a moment, staring down at the giant octopus in the net. The captain looked at the professor. The professor seemed stunned. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. The captain looked at Jack and Annie. "Please hear him," Annie said. "He told you the truth." The captain stared at the octopus for a long moment. Then he raised his hand. "Free him," he said softly. "Sir, I request permission to cut the creature from the net," Henry said to the captain. The captain nodded. "Permission granted, Mr. Mosley," said the captain. "Help me," Henry said to Jack and Annie. "Sure," said Jack. "We'll come too, mate," said Joe. Joe and Tommy hurried after Henry, Jack, and Annie to a row of small boats on the deck. The sailors lowered one of the boats down to the surface of the water. Then Jack, Annie, Joe, Tommy, and Henry all climbed down the ladder and stepped inside. Everyone else watched from the deck. Joe and Tommy rowed along the side of the ship until they came to the spot where the giant octopus was trapped. The 2 sailors held the boat steady with their oars. "Grab the net," Henry said to Jack and Annie. Jack reached out and grabbed a corner of the net. Annie helped him pull it out of the water. Henry used a big knife to slice through the thick rope strands. Even though the rowboat rocked violently, Jack didn't feel sick at all. Jack, Annie, and Henry pulled the torn net into the small boat. Jack kept staring at the octopus. He looked back at all of them with his great eyes. His tentacles spread about him like a giant flower. This is the picture. His fierce red color had changed back to gray. Goodbye, you, Annie said softly. Go home now. The octopus lifted two of his tentacles as if to say goodbye. Then he slipped under the surface of the water and vanished. And that's the end of chapter 10. So tomorrow I'll read the last chapter in our chapter book. It's called, well, not going to tell you. You'll find out tomorrow. Okay, so coming up, I'll teach a math lesson, so make sure you have your materials for lesson 5 ready. Today we are doing lesson 5. It's called Time to the Hour Analog, because we're going to use clocks that are called analog clocks. It looks just like our clock in our classroom, if you can picture that. That's an analog clock. Okay, so on the first page on lesson 5, it shows a time of 5 o'clock. So the shorter hand, these are called hands, they're dotted right now. There's a shorter hand and a longer hand. The shorter hand is the hour hand, and the longer hand is the minute hand. So when the longer hand, the minute hand, is pointed to the 12, we say o'clock. And when we tell time, we always say what the hour is first. So on this clock, the hour hand is pointing to the 5. So it's 5 o'clock. I'd like you to trace over the hour hand, the shorter hand, and the longer minute hand. Now, on my clock on my screen, I changed the hands. The shorter hand, the hour hand, is now pointed to the 3, and the minute hand is still pointing to the 12. So we know it's something o'clock. Now, remember I said the hour is always said first. So the hour hand, the shorter hand is pointing to the 3, so it's 3 o'clock. So there's a little story to go along with this. There is a boy whose name is Robbie. His band practice starts at 3 o'clock. So just like they're showing on my analog clock on this page. Then his practice ends at 5 o'clock. So then the hour hand, the shorter hand, would point to the 5, and the minute hand would still point to the 12. This clock shows 5 o'clock. Now, on the next page, at the top, it says there are 2 kinds of clocks. This is an analog clock. The hour hand is shorter. It points to the hour. The minute hand is longer. It points to the minute. So on our analog clock at the top, the hour hand is on the 3. It is 3 o'clock. The minute hand is pointed to 12. So I'd like you to trace over the 3 on the line. And then let's go on to the next page. To the bottom of the page. You're going to use a clock to show the time. So you're just going to look at the clocks on your paper. So it says, tell what time is shown. Write the time. So on the first clock, the hour hand is pointed to the 9, and the minute hand is on the clock. So we always say the hour first. So the hour hand is pointing to the 9. So it's 9 o'clock. You always have to ask yourself, what number is the hour hand pointing to first? Okay, number 2. The hour hand is pointed to the 2. The minute hand is on the 12. So it's 2 o'clock. Write a 2 on the line. And then number 3, the hour hand this time is pointed to the 11. And the minute hand is on the 12. So it's 11 o'clock. And then number 4, the hour hand this time is pointing to the 6. The minute hand is on the 12. So it's 6 o'clock. Write a 6 on the line. Okay, at the bottom, it says talk math. Where are the hour hand and the minute hand when it is 4 o'clock? I want you to talk to somebody at home about that. Where would the hour hand be and the minute hand when it's 4 o'clock? On the next page, you're going to use the clocks on your paper to show the time. Tell what time is shown. Write the time. So, number 5, what time would that be? Look at the hour hand, write the number on the line. You're going to do the same thing for number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now, on the next page, you're going to solve this time. You're going to write the time, but you're going to draw the hands on the clock. So you're going to draw the hour hand, the shorter hand, and the minute hand. The minute hand is always longer than the hour hand. This is the story. Ava gets home at 3 o'clock. Evan gets home 1 hour later. What time does Evan get home? So what I want you to do is first think about that. Ava gets home at 3 o'clock. Evan gets home 1 hour later, 1 hour after her. So what time would that be? I want you to draw the hour hand and the minute hand on the clock and then write what time it would be on the line. Okay, you should have written 4. That would be 4 o'clock because 4 o'clock is 1 hour after 3 o'clock. Okay, 3 plus 1 equals 4. That's how you would know it would be 4 o'clock. Make sure you have the hour hand pointed to the 4, the shorter hand, and the minute hand, the longer hand, pointed to the 12. Okay, now number 14. Roger begins reading books at 6 o'clock. He reads for 2 hours. What time does he stop? So remember, he started reading books at 6 o'clock. He reads for 2 hours. What time does he stop? So you would add 6 plus 2 more, and that will give you what time he reads for. So what time would he finish reading? Write the number on the line. Okay, number 15. Antonio tried to set the hands on his clock for 9 o'clock. Tell why Antonio is wrong. Make it right. Look carefully at where the hour hand is pointing and where the minute hand is pointing. Tell me in words why Antonio is wrong with how his clock looks. Then I want you to make it right. So with your pencil, I want you to fix the clock. What would 9 o'clock look like? Where would the hour hand be pointing? And where would the minute hand be pointing?